join us today at IBEW 103. Lou Antonellis hosting us today, and I'm proud to also be joined by Chrissy Lynch, the great president of the Massachusetts AFL-CIO, Chaton Green, business agent for the Greater Boston Buildings Trade, and Andy Benedetto, business representative of Local 1121 Millwrights, and all of the assembled labor stars who have joined us this morning. So everyone who is here is a true champion of union workers and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And I'm proud to stand in solidarity with you in the fight to save clean energy union jobs. So make no mistake, workers are in the fight of their lives. Trump and Republicans are attempting to repeal the clean energy tax credits that we secured in the Inflation Reduction Act. This is the largest climate bill in the history of the world, and it's already at work, bringing down prices, keeping families healthy, and creating union jobs across our nation. If the Republicans succeed, we stand to lose 830,000 new jobs, most of them union jobs, over the next generation. These Republican attacks are a direct threat not only to a livable future, but also to union workers' livelihoods. In Massachusetts, we pioneered the pro-worker, pro-climate future. We've had union workers on project labor agreements building offshore wind turbines that will power our communities, constructing electric vehicle infrastructure that will make our streets safer and our air cleaner, and installing solar panels that will lower energy prices for families across the Commonwealth, all while making family-sustaining wages and giving young people a pathway to good careers in their communities. But Trump has declared all-out war on the green jobs revolution built for and by union workers in our country. Just 9 months ago, Frank Callahan and I met with an offshore wind manufacturing company planning to build a factory in Somerset using union labor. Because of Trump's attacks on the industry, that project totally collapsed, taking hundreds of jobs for Massachusetts building trades with it. Now, Trump's Republican lackeys in Congress have proposed a budget bill, their big billionaire bailout, that would slash more than $500 billion in clean energy investments, and then transfer that $500 billion to tax breaks for millionaires and billionaires, taking it out of the incentives that were going to be there to create 900,000 new jobs, mostly union, over the next 10 years in our nation. In Massachusetts, we right now have over 115,000 workers in the clean energy sector. Thousands of union jobs will be at risk. Trump and Republicans are selling out the livelihoods of working people and the future of the children of the Commonwealth and the nation, all, again, to pay for the tax breaks for the wealthiest in our country. And their budget proposal guts the programs working class people rely upon. Mass health gets gutted. Medicaid, Medicare gets crushed in the Trump proposal. The Affordable Care Act gets crushed. So not only do they take $500 billion from the clean energy revolution, they cut Medicaid, that is mass health, by $800 billion. They cut Medicare by $500 billion. They cut the Affordable Care Act by $300 billion. And They are going to fire 80,000 workers from the VA, the health care for veterans in our country as well. And they're going to take all of that health care money, all of that clean energy money, and then give it away in tax breaks. So the health of our nation is at stake. So this is going to be an incredible battle that we're in the middle of right now. And if Donald Trump and Republicans think that union workers are going to roll over as their jobs, families, and livelihoods are threatened, they have another thing coming. My father, a union leader, used to say to me, Eddie, you can't beg for your rights. You have to fight for them, and you will win. So that's what's happening. We're fighting. We're going to fight for these rights. We're going to fight to defeat this legislation because Republicans are taking money and jobs out of the ordinary communities all across our nation. Since the IRA passed in 2022, companies have announced more than $800 billion in investments and 980,000 jobs. And nearly 80% of that money has gone to red states. It's gone to red states. The Green Revolution is red and blue. And we won't stop organizing until every worker knows that Republicans in Congress are robbing their own districts of funding and jobs. Republicans want to make a buck for their billionaire buddies, but it's on the back of union workers in all 50 states. So we're forcing them to go on record about how easily they'd sell out the working people in service of Trump and his billionaire class. And we're calling out Trump and the MAGA Republican charade. They are not pro-worker. They are pro-greed, pro-bosses, pro-billionaires, and together over the next 4 to 6 weeks, we are going to make clear how Republicans are hurting people in their own states, and we're going to stop this bill. We're going to defend jobs, defend the future, defend the way of life for regular families all across our nation, and we're going to put Republicans on record. They are going to lose their jobs if they vote for these job-killing legislation that is absolutely going to devastate families across our country. So this fight is going to be hard, but it's a fight for a livable future for every family in our nation, and we are going to win this fight. So let me now turn to the leader of the greatest AFL-CIO in the United States of America, the president of the AFL-CIO for the state of Massachusetts, Chrissy Lynch. Come on in.
Thank you, Senator Markey, for your efforts, always fighting for Massachusetts workers. Thank you to Lou and IBEW 103 for your hospitality and your great leadership on this topic. Look, we need more energy and we need more jobs in Massachusetts, plain and simple. Working families shouldn't have to purchase energy from billionaire oil tycoons and foreign governments or let them set the prices of our energy bills. We can generate massive amounts of energy right here in Massachusetts, and we can create thousands of union jobs for Massachusetts residents while we do it. That's what the energy provisions of the Inflation Reduction Act promote. They provide incentives for energy companies to build their facilities here, and not just to create jobs, but to create family-sustaining union careers for American workers. Over the last few years, thousands of our neighbors and our friends have been put to work on electric grid upgrades, battery storage facilities, and manufacturing plants. They're building our clean energy future, and we're all benefiting. The family that these workers support, the homes, the schools, the businesses that need a reliable supply of energy, and every one of us that will live on a cleaner and a safer planet because of it. As the senator said, now Republicans in Congress are threatening to pull the rug out from underneath these projects, and the Massachusetts workers building them. Significant changes to the IRA's energy credits would jeopardize thousands of Massachusetts jobs in the short term. If you need proof, take Promethean as an example. They were set to invest hundreds of millions of dollars into a manufacturing plant in Somerset that would have employed hundreds of local union workers. But with federal energy policy up in the air right now, they canceled the project altogether. That's just one project, but there are hundreds that hang in the balance that, if canceled, would impact thousands of union jobs right here in Massachusetts. Regardless of what Congress decides, the Inflation Reduction Act should be a roadmap for statewide policy here in Massachusetts. Our state has the chance to make up this difference. Just like the Inflation Reduction Act, it should be our state's policy that we use registered apprenticeships on programs on energy and climate projects to make sure that we're training the next generation of clean energy workers so that they will earn while they learn, to ensure a steady pool of workers ready to go, which our registered apprenticeship programs have. And just like the Inflation Reduction Act, it should be our state's policy that workers are paid a prevailing wage for their work on clean energy and climate projects, so that these new industries create high road careers, not low road, low wage careers. These standards are not only good for workers and communities, but they make sure that clean energy projects are done with the highest possible standards. Let's generate our own energy here in Massachusetts. Let's create thousands of good union careers in the process. Let's save the incentives in the Inflation Reduction Act, and let's build off of them by passing them in our own state's climate policy. Thank you for having me, Senator.
Now Lou Antonellis, Business Manager, IBEW.
I'm up.
Local 103.
Thank you, Senator. Means a lot to be here today. Obviously, this is home for us here in the IBEW, and it's certainly heartfelt to be surrounded by IBEW apprentices, instructors, and leaders from all the trades as we fight back. But repealing clean energy tax credits is a union job killer. If you take a look around you, brothers and sisters, you see a solar array behind us. You see EV chargers. You see a wind turbine. It's not just clean energy, that's union-built clean energy. And if some folks in this administration get their way, it all goes away. And let me say it loud and clear that repealing clean energy tax credits is a union killer, it's a job killer, and it puts our members out of work, and members across this country that rely on these types of jobs. These projects don't just happen by accident. They happen because tax credits help level the playing field, they drive investment, and they put IBEW electricians, they put laborers, iron workers, and pipe fitters to work, building America's energy future. You take those tax credits away, and you're not just pulling funding, you're pulling paychecks from working families. You're pulling apprentices out of training facilities, and you're pulling opportunity straight out of our communities. Every solar panel installed, every wind turbine wired, every EV charger connected, that's a job with good wages, with health care, and a pension that stands for dignity for the American worker. You don't kill that kind of progress, you build on it. We're not going back to the days when all the good jobs were shipped overseas and working families got scraps. We're here to say that all energy sources are important to keep consumer costs down, but the clean energy sector is the fastest growing energy sector, and we need those jobs to stay here in America and to keep those jobs union. So let Congress hear us loud and proud. Do not repeal those tax credits, because when you attack clean energy, you're attacking union labor, and we will not back down. Thank you very much. Yep. Thank you, Senator. John, you're up, buddy.
Nice. Hey, good morning, everyone. It's an honor to speak here before you today. My name is Shaitan Green, and I'm proud to represent the men and women in the Boston Building Trades Unions. We represent over 35,000 members, but there's 75,000 members across the state. And when I think about it on a national level, it's hundreds of thousands and possibly millions of lives that will be affected. Let the trains go by. Thank you. Millions of lives that will be affected if these tax credits are repealed. I want to start by saying our members are the ones out here in the freezing cold and the blazing heat, laying foundations, wiring schools, setting steel, climbing wind turbines, and putting up solar panels. They're the men and women who don't ask for much, just a fair wage for an honest day's work, health care for their families, and a shot to retire with dignity. I'm here today representing those skilled union workers who build the schools our kids learn in, the bridges we drive on. And because of smart, clean energy investments, the solar fields and wind farms that will power our future. We represent working class communities that have been promised time and time again that their turn is coming. And for once, with the passage of the Inflation Reduction Act, that promise felt real. The Inflation Reduction Act was a turning point. For the first time, we saw national investment in clean energy that wasn't about corporate tax breaks. It was about people. It tied tax credits to union labor and registered apprenticeships. It meant workers having access to construction projects that benefit communities and families, taking part in building the clean economy. It meant apprentices could see a future in trades tied with purpose and stability. But now the Republican reconciliation package threatens to undo all of that. It would gut the clean energy tax credits that make these projects viable. It would tear out the labor standards that ensure these jobs are good jobs. It would strip away the foundation of the Inflation Reduction Act. The very act that was meant to lower costs, create millions of jobs, and confront climate change head on, with working people at the center. This is not just a political move, it's a betrayal of every worker who saw a path forward in this new economy. A betrayal of every community that started to believe we could finally be a part of a rising tide and not left behind. If these cuts go through, we're not just talking about lost jobs, we're talking about lost dignity, lost hope, and lost momentum. We're talking about people being told again that their future is negotiable, that their place in the clean energy transition was only temporary. We can't afford to go backwards. Not when our communities were finally beginning to see the benefits of smart, fair, climate-conscious investments that work for everybody. We call on Congress to reject this dangerous package, to protect the Inflation Reduction Act, to protect working people who are finally being written into the story of America's future, not just as footnotes, but as builders of it. We are not disposable. Our jobs are not just a line item. And our voices will not be silenced. Thank you very much.
Andy Benedetto, Local 1121, Mill Rights.
Thanks everyone for having me. Thanks Lou and 103. My name's Andy Benedetto. I'm here on behalf of Mill Rights Local 1121, as well as more than 30,000 members of the North Atlantic States Regional Council of Carpenters. We're here today in strong support of the Inflation Reduction Act, especially its investments in offshore wind and other renewable energy sources like hydro and solar. Our union understands the urgency of climate change, but we also know the response to climate change should create opportunity. And right now, it is across our region, it's generating good-paying, family-sustaining jobs. More than 400 of our members have already worked in offshore wind, whether onshore or offshore, creating hundreds of thousands of work hours. That includes millwrights, pile drivers, carpenters, and our fellow union members in the IBEW and the building trades. Our union has invested millions of dollars into training to prepare the next generation of workers for this clean energy transition. But these opportunities must not be temporary. We need long-term, sustained investment in renewable energy to ensure this work continues well beyond the current round of offshore wind projects. Major solar and hydroelectric projects must also move forward to deliver clean power to our communities and meaningful local jobs to our members. Sonia Brito, one of our members, is from New Bedford. She came into the Millwrights Apprenticeship Program through a Career Pathways Pre-Apprenticeship Program. Today she's working in offshore wind, right in her hometown of New Bedford, earning strong wages and benefits, building a stable career, and supporting her family. Tragically, Sonia's father passed away unexpectedly this past December, leaving little financial preparation behind. Thanks to her job on the Vineyard Wind Project, Sonia, at just 22 years old, has been able to take over her parents' mortgage and her father's bills. In her own words, it has honestly been a blessing to make a steady income at 22 years old in my hometown to support my mom, my brother, and myself. These are more than just jobs. They're life-changing careers, especially for people who have historically been left out of economic opportunity. This is exactly the kind of progress we need to protect and expand for the future. That's why we're here today. We want to keep this momentum going. We want more for our members, more for our neighbors and our friends, to have access to this growing and vital sector. The Inflation Reduction Act is helping make that possible. On behalf of our members and working families across Massachusetts, we want to thank Senator Markey for his unwavering leadership, his commitment to growing the workforce, and expanding access to good-paying union jobs. Thank you, and let's keep powering forward with renewable energy. Wow, thank you.
Thank you, Andy, so much. And again, we thank all the apprentices who are here. You know, their stories are going to be the same story as Sonia at 22. Good job. Even though she has to pick up the mortgage, she can figure out how to do it because she has a good job in a clean energy future. So our challenge is going to be this. China has a plan for the clean energy future of the 21st century. They want to dominate clean energy technology. They want to own it. And they have a plan. We have a plan too. It's called the IRA. It's a plan to incentivize the development of all of these clean energy technologies right here in America. So China has a plan for their 22-year-olds. We need a plan for our 22-year-olds. That's who we're fighting for. We're fighting for all the Sonias in our nation and right here at 103, all these great apprentices who are right behind us to make sure that they have not just a job, but a career in clean energy for the rest of their lives. So thank you all so much. Thank you, apprentices, for coming out.
Great job. Thank you. Really appreciate you.
You're great. Thank all of you. Great. So they're just starting?
Finishing their first year.
They're finishing the first year.